Welcome to another Ask Arlington. I'm Jay Warren. You know, Ask Arlington is a show that is dedicated to answering the questions that you have about what's happening right here in our city. And on this episode, we're focusing on the new Central Library that will be built in downtown Arlington. If you're not familiar, the library will be built north of City Hall and west of Center Street, and will offer the community 3 floors of amenities, including digital printing, computers and tablets, zoned areas for children and teens, meeting spaces, and much more. In fact, much more. And here to help us answer your questions about the new Central Library is our library director, Yoko Matsumoto.
Hi.
Yoko, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And I guess a congratulations too, because you're fairly new in your position as the director of library services here for the city of Arlington,
yes,
right?
maybe 2 months now.
Yeah, okay.
Going into 3.
Congratulations still in
Thank
order
you.
for that.
Thanks.
Before we get to our resident questions, and we got some really great questions from our residents on this, I think there's a lot of excitement about this project. But tell us why we needed a new Central Library.
Well, in looking at the previous library that we had, there were the 2 main components I think that the community really needed, because Arlington was a growing community and the building wasn't supporting the growth. So one main factor was space. We needed more space for people to meet, spaces for people to study, or just gathering spaces, more so than space for additional collections. We needed space for people. The second one was technology. Technology is growing so quickly, and the infrastructure of the building could not support any new technology that we needed to bring into the building. So those were the 2 main reasons why we needed to build a new library that was supporting the transition of Arlington as well as the growth of the population.
In a way, people are using libraries in different ways, so we needed a new building to accommodate how people in 2016 and for the generations forward would use a library, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think one of the key things as a new library director that I want to focus on is painting new pictures of library services. So if I asked you, what do you think about when you think of a public library, I would say the majority of people who aren't library users would think buildings and books. And we are in a transition where it is more than just buildings and books. That is a very important piece, but there are so many levels of components that libraries offer. And so this new building would actually be perfect to support those needs and library services.
Wonderful. Well, let's get to some of our residents' questions.
Sure.
Like I said, we got some really good ones. And we want to start with this first question from Michelle. Michelle asks, and wants to know when the new library groundbreaking will be, and that's coming up very soon, right?
It is, yes, and we are super excited about it. It's going to be May 31st. It's a Tuesday, and it's at 1:30, and it's going to be right here in the parking lot of City Hall. So come on out and join us. We'd love to have people out there to celebrate this great step in library services for Arlington.
Well, I know a lot of people have that date circled on their calendars.
Yay!
So it'll be
And
an
a
exciting
red
day.
pencil.
Yes, it'll be an exciting day for sure. Well, our next question comes to us from Chelsea, and Chelsea says many libraries are beginning to use library engagement to reduce homelessness. Is this something that will be considered with the new library? So how are you going to address that?
Right. Well, that's an interesting question because, I'm really excited about the question because I think our patron or citizen who asked the question really sees the value of how libraries do integrate in our community. I think libraries are pillars in the neighborhood, and we are part of the fabric of our communities, which means there are a lot of social issues that libraries do face on a day-to-day basis. And so this coming fiscal year, there are a lot of different issues that our team is going to be discussing, and how we are going to work with other city departments, work with other organizations in our community, nonprofits, be it other educational institutions, to really support key issues that are impacting Arlington. So that's kind of our approach to a topic of homelessness, but there's also illiteracy, or trying to help teens get through high school and go to college. There are a lot of social issues that we do face on a daily basis, and that's one of, going back to the comment I said earlier, we're not about library and books, buildings and books anymore. There are other components that libraries are really trying to help find solutions to improve, especially here in our community.
That transition.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, well, our next question comes to us from Mary. She wants to know if the building will be LEED certified.
Yes, we are seeking LEED certification for this building, so we're super excited.
A lot of steps to that. So it's going to take some effort and some work in order for us to get to LEED certified. But that will be an exciting accomplishment for this library, right?
Yes, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, wonderful. All right. And our last question comes to us from Chris. Chris asks, how much will the new library cost? What's the price tag?
The cost of the project is $30 million. And so $22 million was supported by the City of Arlington. We had a LEED gift from the Arlington Tomorrow Foundation for $4 million, and we are currently working on a capital campaign to raise the remaining $4 million for the project. And what we're raising money for is mostly the FF&E and the technology piece that we're trying
what's
to.
FF&E? So explain to us what that means.
Furniture, fixtures, and equipment.
So the fun stuff inside.
The fun stuff inside, which, yes, the building is going to be built, but we want to make sure what's inside the building really supports the needs of our community, or the transition of where we're going, where we are and where we want to go in the future. So that's what the budget looks like. And so we're in our public phase of our capital campaign, and we're always looking for donors at small levels, but donors at large levels as well.
It all comes together.
It all does.
To raise that money.
It all does. Yes, it does.
Well, Yoko, thanks so much for joining us and for answering our questions and our resident questions on this topic. Again, I think there's a lot of excitement out there for this new library to get underway and for it to open in what will be, about 18 to 24 months?
Yes, so construction should finish around February of 18, so winter of 18, hopefully opening in spring of 18.
That's exciting.
I know, super exciting. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate it very much. Thanks, Yoko, and thank you at home for sending in your questions and asking some really great questions. That will do it for this week's Ask Arlington. Tune in next time when we answer more of your questions.